Action. Camera. Roll 'em. Jeff Africa's Last Dance. The channel where we're making it from the head to the heart and becoming a heart-centered human being as we express through the heart, live through the heart, laugh through the heart, think through the heart, see with the heart on this channel. That's what we're going for here, okay? Okay, we finished up what kind of progress I've made, and it seems drawn out. It seems a little drawn out, but I came from a very, very dark place, and you're not going to have to probably have as much trouble as I had pulling myself out of that. So good news for you guys. Fair enough? All right. Okay, today's a very interesting conversation. I read a book back in many years ago in the 80s. It was called Lazy Man's Guide to Enlightenment. And it was such a powerful book. It was written by Thaddeus Golas. And he wrote it in 1972. And he was a simple guy, but he wrote this, he got to enlightenment. He found his way to enlightenment. And he wanted to give this handy guide to anyone who wanted to do the same thing. And he admitted he was lazy. He was pretty much a lazy dude. He didn't go in for a bunch of work, physically or any of that stuff. And he admitted that he was just kind of a lazy, but he still found enlightenment anyway, and in his own way, and on his own terms. It was just a fascinating book to read. I went to see if I could buy it because I wanted to review it. I just remembered all this stuff by heart. I must have read the thing 5-6 times. It was about 100 pages, give or take 10 pages. I must have read it 5 or 6 times because it's such a profound, powerful book. And there's still parts of it that I don't understand, really, that he said. He was quite a character, this guy, you know. And I went to try to buy the book, see if it was still available, and it was on Amazon. But used a portion of this book, the used book was selling for $67, $80, you know, $67, $75, $80. And it was, it's not in print anymore, but that's how, you know, it's a collector's item. It's just a paperback. It wasn't even a hardcover, you know, $65, $77, something like that. It was incredible. But I had read it so many times, I've memorized pretty much a lot of what I wanted to say, although I may not catch all of it. If you can get this book and read it, I suggest, I'm telling you, to get it. Lazy Man's Guide to Enlightenment, Thaddeus Golas. This is what he said, largely, and there was more, but this is what he said. He wasn't okay with any enlightenment system that would take the people he knew at the time lifetimes to achieve as he knew them to be. The disciplines you have to do, everything you had to do that was being pushed at the time to become enlightened. He rejected all of that. And he rejected it because he knew that the people that he loved and was with at the time, his friends, wouldn't be able to achieve enlightenment for lifetimes. With the normal progress of an enlightenment seeker, okay, if you want to look at it that way. He rejected that. He said, no, that God wouldn't want that. God wouldn't allow that. He said he just decided to step onto the path of love, okay, finding, expressing, choosing love every moment of every day. You're on the path of love now. Now step forward as a member of that brotherhood that has stepped onto the path of love and chose love at each and every moment of life. Okay, he didn't think gurus were necessary. He said his friends would come to him. This is in '72, so this is in San Francisco. So gurus were coming in, you know, into the fore at that point here, especially around the Bay Area. He said his friends would come to him and he goes, look, there's this guru. Let's go follow this guru for a while. He's really smart. And he politely declined. He said they're the most wonderful people, but he felt as though you didn't have to or go to a guru because we had everything within us to get the job done. So he doesn't think gurus were a necessary item in this path, and a lot of people are saying that same thing these days. He said the greatest internal issues and problems and pains and things that keep us in a lower vibration were due to resistance. That we resist things that we don't want to see in us and don't want to acknowledge are there. And so we resist them. He said all these people that are in psychological trauma and need help through the medical system, he said if all they would do is release their resistance to anything that would come into their mind, anything that they would feel, say, think, or be, they would release the resistance and allow it to come forward. That is the beginning of it, and you can do a lot of great healing all by yourself if you just relinquish resistance to things that are troubling to you and you don't want to look at. Okay. He said, let go of all resistance to anything you feel, see, and that pops out of your mouth that is representative of something inside. And that is when you start to increase your vibration and frequency level. Okay? With the idea of keeping things under wraps, keeping things down, that is what keeps us at a lower vibrational rate. All right? He said every situation in life gives us an opportunity to choose expansion in love or contraction in fear. Okay? And as we move through life, that's the choice. Okay? Are we going in this one moment with this person or in this situation, am I going to contract in fear or am I going to expand in love? Okay? That is the choice every moment, and that is a meditation in and of itself, and it's a consistent practice that you commit to, and that becomes your religion essentially, or your spirituality, if you want to use the religious term. Vibrational frequencies create our vision of reality. That's what creates our reality around us. That's how it gives us the texture and the flavor of our reality. You get that when you take psychedelics. The psychedelics has you shooting up into a much higher vibrational rate, and you learn what a different reality that produces, momentary reality that produces for you. Okay, and that's you really do learn that lesson when you take psychedelics. And the whole idea, as you choose love, is to start slowly and you begin to not resist anything that comes up. That is what you slowly begin to raise your vibrational frequencies, and that's what creates your personal reality. Okay, you got that? He said that when he had taken LSD, but he kind of tripped with LSD in the 70s. A lot of people were in the Bay Area, and he said that when he was shown how vaporous this reality was. He said in these higher vibrational areas he got with good psychedelics. I imagine he had good ones, because you never know sometimes. That he was introduced to how vaporous this physical reality is. Okay, that's what he said. He said that all the physicality, he likened it to an audience. Is when you're giving a show and all these individual entities come and they sit as an audience. It looks like one solid unit, the audience. Okay, and it looks like a solid mass out there. But once the show's over and they just all split, the audience is, the physicality of the audience is gone. That's what he said. Most physical matter is an audience coming of molecules and cells and atoms, and they come together and they're in agreement. They hold together and produce this illusion of physicality. Okay, and at some point, all the cells and atoms and molecules that make that physicalness appear and seem physical and in reality, that's what you can sort of get an idea of what that is all about. Is referred to an audience that seems like it's a solid entity, but once the audience goes away, there was no audience, and it didn't continue to be a solid looking thing. And that's what he says, that most physical objects are an audience of electrons and all those things. And they're only held together for a temporary, through interpersonal agreement. And then as they disperse, that physicality disappears. Okay, when he said that when you're treated to how vaporous this reality is, that's what we mean. When I've told you this reality is illusion, that's what I mean. Also, there are people who can walk through walls. The galactics can walk through physical things because they don't see it as a physical thing. They can walk through it because of the properties I've told you just right now. Right? Okay. You can mess with it, and once you learn how to rearrange the molecules in yourself and the molecules in that door, you can walk through the door. A lot of the higher vibration galactics, they had accounts where they just walked through the door, or they walked through the wall in the house. And Jesus, I think, had some an event where that happened. Oh, don't quote me on that. But that's what he said. He said that he had taken LSD one time, sitting in a room, and there was a lot of people around him, and the trip started to be a satanic bummer. That's how he termed it. The trip started out to be a satanic bummer. As he looked at all the people around him, I guess they seemed a little loveless and in their own little worlds, and low vibrational sort of a trip. I've sort of gotten that from before on psychedelics. And he thought this, he goes, well, what was it that you thought needed to be loved? What was it that you thought needed to be loved? And just like that one thought, he popped out of that bummer trip into this vast, enlightened trip that was full of love. And in that one moment, he went from needing something from these people, needing love from these people, to being the source of love himself. Okay, that's how that one thought led to that, which is very, very interesting. You're in a critical place when you're in those areas. But it was interesting. That was that one thought. Which I have said, thought, thinking, intellect, and all that kind of stuff aren't potent. There are other things that are more potent. But it was that one thought that led him into the path of enlightenment right then and there on that one trip. Okay? From that satanic sort of bummer that he had initially entered into that experience perceiving. Okay, so that's very, very interesting. You know what I mean? It's a powerful thing for him to say that it was just that one thought that allowed him to move beyond that lower vibrational bummer sort of aspect into that higher vibrational love. I have it all, and now I am beaming what I thought I needed from this world. You see, that's what he said. He said that it's not necessary to do all these disciplines to get to enlightenment. Okay, he said we have it here right now, and compare that to what I've been on you guys about as far as my personal progress and the 10-year, 12-year discipline-filled things I've been doing to get partially where I want to go, 50, 60% there, as far as being happy and being filled with love and love for myself. But he said that it's not necessary if you knew how to trip it. you don't have to go through all that to get where we want to go. That's why he said he chose that path, because a lot of his friends would never do any of that stuff. You know what I mean? He found that all those things aren't necessary. He said meditation was a good tool to use, though he meditated. And he said you could see a lot of things in meditation you wouldn't normally see, energies, inner energies, otherwise. So he did say that, but very interesting. And he's not the only one to say that. I've been around a couple of people who have said, hey, look, you don't have to go through a bunch of gyrations to get to enlightenment. It's easier than we think, especially these days. In the 70s or the 50s or the 40s, the energies around Earth were a lot more dense than they are now. So things that seemed in Ananda, Yogananda's group, one of them, Self-Realization Fellowship and Ananda, it was pretty much a conclusion that you may not, or you most likely will not be able to get to self-realization in one lifetime. It's going to take a couple lifetimes once you commit to that path of self-realization. But that was also, those ideas were thought of back in the 30s and 40s and 20s, and it's a lot different energy and frequency atmosphere around the Earth right now, and what led people to say those types of things isn't really applicable right now to this planet in 2024. Okay, it's much easier to accomplish these types of things, and that was what was the going line in Ananda. And I said, isn't that a tough sell? Come in here, we're going to teach you how to be self-realized. Oh, but you're not going to be able to do it in one lifetime, which is like a hard sell. I would think, well, most people are going to think, I can't do it in a lifetime, I'm out of here. No, not really, but, it was kind of a hard sell, I thought. He said, so if, as a member of the path of love, you simply have to start loving things as much as you can from wherever you're at. And that'll slowly raise your vibrational point where you actually start being and becoming love and expressing love and an outpouring of love. And there's that energy and state of love that we're seeking here. But when you begin, you simply have to do the best, and I've said this to you before, you simply have to do the best you can from wherever you're at. Okay, and that's what he stated. This is the path of love. You find the love, you express the love, you act in love, you see with love and think with love. That's how you begin this process. He said that the stupid people, the arrogant people, the troublesome people, they were our tickets to heaven. Because if we could find our way not to resist them and love them, that is the goal there. That we got to have love for everybody. Is that, in this field of unity, we love everybody and everything. And he says when we can learn how to love and not resist the stupid, that was our ticket to heaven. Do you see? That's what he's saying. He said that lower vibrational people will always, one way or the other, eventually want to pull down the higher vibrational people around them. If they come across somebody that's vibrating at a higher rate, they're going to inevitably pull them down by little sly pokes and disguised as fun sly pokes, little negative things, little ways that we all have probably observed people do to pull your vibration down all the way to killing you. If they can't, like they did Jesus, if they can't pull you down, they're going to throw you in jail or they're going to kill you, but they're going to pull you down because you act as a chafe. You make them feel uncomfortable if you're vibrating too high in this world. And I saw that when I was 17 and I had that trip that I saw a unity consciousness, that's what I saw. That it was a little bit dangerous, that consciousness that I was in, that led me to love-based unity consciousness. It was dangerous because you're going to rub people the wrong way, especially the lower vibe people that would be at school. In this particular case, you're going to rub them the wrong way, okay? And they're going to want to come up with ways to neutralize you because they're being irritated and chafed by your higher vibration. Do you see that? So that's what we always have to be mindful of too. They will always inevitably try to pull your energies down so they can be more comfortable. Do you understand that? He said that if you want to be enlightened and you go to a cave, and you sit in the cave for years, a decade maybe, you're eventually going to get some help. And if you do reach an enlightened state and you come out of that cave and you go to the townspeople and you start talking to them, if you don't take responsibility for the interaction, he said, they're going to pull you right back down again without even having to do anything. Just dealing with lower vibrational people, if you don't know how to do it, if you don't know how to not react to it and know how to always still be very protective of that love that you've reached in your enlightened state, you're going to be pulled back down again just because of people's ways and means and what they just do. It's just their nature to do that. So he has to be very mindful of that. The kid with Leo, remember the little Leo down there, and how their parents have turned him against me. He'd always come up to me and say hi. And, how are you? He was a cute kid. And he is a cute kid. But they've soured him, and he'll never say hi to me. He looks at me with apprehension. And they've poisoned his mind against me. What was just a simple, nice relationship I had, lighthearted acquaintanceship I had with this kid, now it's turned into that, where he's fearful or he won't say hi to me anymore and all that sort of thing. Now that could bum me out. That, normally speaking, that would bum a person out. How could this earth reality be so shitty? That whole thing. But I know how to take it. See, so when he's saying you got to take responsibility for the environment, that's what he's meaning. I don't take that personally. I just go, okay, well, that's unfortunate. And I move on. But I don't allow it to bring me down. Okay, I know how to process it. I know how to take responsibility for it. My job here is to treat those people as kindly and lovingly as I can. And learn how to be okay with where they are at right now in their particular sojourn through this eternity, okay? That's what he means when he says take proper responsibility, otherwise you're going to go right back down to where you came from. Anything in life, he said it's like playing a piano. Any one thing, you have a girl, you want a girlfriend. You've chosen this girl, like I have had. And whether if it happens, he said, if it does happen for you, that's nice. And if it doesn't happen for you, that's still nice, because life is a whole piano of choices and potentialities. And if you demand that, or in anything you want, I want to be a successful this, and it doesn't happen. Now you're bummed out because it didn't happen. That's because you're at a lower vibrational rate. That the higher vibrational rate realizes that if that one note on that piano, if life was described as keys on a keyboard, 88 keys, that experience you wanted or that woman you wanted is like pressing on one key all the time. But life is all the keys. So if one thing doesn't happen, something else is going to come your way, especially the way we know how God responds and reality responds to you and where you're at also. But he says that, so anything that you really desire, any form of success in it, as a musician, let's say, or in a love relationship, or a friendship, whatever it is, if it happens, that's good. And if it doesn't happen, that's still good. Okay, that's what the enlightened mentality is all about. You're not stuck on any particular thing happening. Okay, you're fluid in that way. Okay, well, and then you move on, and life is going to satisfy your desire in that area eventually. Anyway, he said that no one in reality needs to learn anything from anybody else. No one in reality has anything to teach anybody else, okay? Because we all are microcosms of the entire universe. We have God, we have everything inside us. All we have to do is learn how to tap into that. And we can essentially uncover that, not resist that, and let it come up. And we are our own masters, in other words. He even said, he questioned why he should write the book. Because I'm glad he did. A lot of people are glad he did. But he said, look, I don't have anything to teach you. You have everything already inside you. And it just is a matter of tuning in and getting it and turning on. Well, he said tuning in and turning on, but LSD and psychedelics act as a pointer. So he was probably helped in this way of love. He was helped by psychedelics, because that's what helped him see all this stuff. And we have nothing to teach. We have nothing to learn from another. It's all inside us, but a matter of tuning in and turning it on. Okay, so that's quite a statement to make, and that's what we're all coming to now. We're all beginning to see that as a group. Now, but this is back in '72. He saw that, which is pretty amazing, really. But that is a lot of what the Lazy Man's Guide to Enlightenment was about. What I've just explained to you, and it was quite a book to read. And you can get your hands on that book. There was a download on Amazon for $9. You can get it on a Kindle. And like I say, but the used paperbacks are selling for like $70, $80 now, which is what I'm telling you, that it was an amazing book in its own right, a unique book in its own right. He found his own way without going the traditional route of reading all this stuff and going to a guru and doing all these disciplines and flows. I like to think of things not as disciplines, but as flows. And but he didn't do any of that. He just chose his own way, and he was helped by psychedelics, no question about it. And I'm not recommending psychedelics; it's not for everybody. But he found it. He found it, and it was quite a thrill ride to read that book. You get your hands on it, check it out. It's interesting. That's all I got to go because I'm trying to keep this less and less, but it's hard to. But that was the Lazy Man's Guide to Enlightenment. It's quite an experience, quite a book, and this is what he said in his own unique way. Very interesting, huh? Jeff Africa, citizen of Earth. Loyal patriot of the United States of America, I stand unafraid. These four, Mother Earth, Divine Mother, Paramatma Yogananda, Jeshua and Ben Joseph, I carry them in my heart. And these four are going to help me get to where I want to go. Okay, I can't fail at this, okay? And I'm going to change my personal reality by what I'm doing right here in front of you, and you're going to see it, and you're going to know that I've changed it. And the old personality, the old ego mind trap is going to fall by the wayside, and I'm going to blossom into a new being, and with a new reality, a new purpose, and a new desire to want to help more and more those around me. That's what's on tap here. So. I'm so glad to be able to express that, and so glad that you're here listening to me. A few more people on here, and I thank all of you very, very much. And we'll have to keep moving forward. Thank you so very, very much. Great day to you, and I love you. I love you all. All right, bye now.